power would this give him? And I will say, if confirmed.
If confirmed, which is a very good point, Kailey. He has tremendous power. He has tremendous power over all Americans' day-to-day lives. I mean, there was talk that he might get an advisory role, something like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy got, some sort of off-the-book, project to work on. Instead, he put him right at the heart of Americans' health and diet. I mean, he oversees the Centers for Disease Control. He oversees, dozens of the National Institutes of Health. He oversees dozens and dozens of agencies. And he has advocated to remove fluoride from our drinking water, which has been in our drinking water for 80 years. Mm-hmm. He has talked about making vaccines optional, which would make public schools a possibly germ, disease place, upsetting a lot of parents. And so who knows what he's going to do. I think this is in the line of Peter Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, and the others Matt Gaetz, how could I forget Matt Gaetz, who may face an uphill battle for confirmation.
Well, it's hard to even follow up on that with a reasonable question here. But I guess the big one is about confirmations. You've covered a lot of these, Mike Dorning. To what extent will John Thune be obligated to usher these through, and will he have the votes?
Well, whenever you're the president's party leader in the Senate, you're going to push for these nominees, but you're also an interlocutor with the White House, telling them how things are going. This will certainly test Republican senators' willingness to follow President Trump. They started out sort of wanting to follow him, as any party would right after their president's elected, and certainly President Trump demands a high degree of loyalty from Republican lawmakers. But particularly Matt Gaetz, who has challenges with ethics and allegations about sexual misconduct, and now with RFK Jr., that's going to be problematic for some senators.
Well, we got reaction from one senator, Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, about the Matt Gaetz nomination specifically. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
The process I will follow here is what I've done with everybody. Elections have consequences. He chose Matt Gaetz. Matt will come before the committee, and he will be asked hard questions, and we'll see how he does.
What do you make of the pick?
I voted for a lot of people I didn't like.
So I guess the question is whether these votes will be taken with all of the available information that might not be readily available. Mike, he resigned from the House. The Ethics Report Committee, therefore, probably won't be formally issued. But can the senators still get their hands on at least what they uncovered?
They're asking the House for that, and not just the Democrats. Senator Durbin, made a formal request for the information from the House. But Senator Cornyn said he would hope that he would see that, even if it's not made public, if it would be made available to the committee members. There is usually, can't say for sure how this administration will handle it, but usually an FBI background check on any candidate that the committee would get to see. The Justice Department did investigate some of these allegations, so it shouldn't be too hard for the FBI to get the information. So likely in some fashion or other, the senators on the committees will get to see it. Obviously, with Matt Gaetz, he's not really beloved even by members of his own party in the House. It's possible the stuff could leak to the press. He doesn't have a lot of friends who are going to help him on the Ethics Committee necessarily.
Just to reiterate, for those who might not be up to speed on this, the Ethics Committee was set to vote tomorrow on releasing this. He just resigned last night. But he also just won his election. And there are questions about whether he shows up for the job a la George Costanza if he does not get confirmed as Attorney General. How's this going to go?
Well, that's right. He resigned from the current Congress. He was elected to the next Congress, Joe. That's an excellent point. So if he is not confirmed, he can take his seat back in the U.S. House under the new Congress, I believe. Mike, you may know more than I do.
The main thing is that we haven't seen his resignation letter. We don't know what exactly he said he resigned to. He could, in theory, have resigned both, But all we know is what we've heard from Speaker Johnson, that he's
resigned.
He's left the House.
But it does seem like a get-out-of-jail-free card from Donald Trump. So, you're under this investigation. You've been incredibly loyal to me. And now I'm appointing you to Attorney General of the United States, and now you don't have to face a House ethics probe.
So, obviously, a lot of questions remain here. One question that has been answered, though, is whether or not Jamie Dimon's going to get to serve a role in this administration. Donald Trump takes to Truth Social, "I respect Jamie Dimon of J.P. Morgan Chase greatly, but he will not be invited to be a part of the Trump administration. I thank Jamie for his outstanding service to our country." And lo and behold, our very own Lisa Abramowitz got to sit down with Jamie earlier today. This was his response.
First of all, I wish the president well, and thank you. That's a very nice note. But I just want to tell the president also, I haven't had a boss for 25 years, and I'm not about ready to start.
So he might not want a boss, Wendy, but there's plenty of people who want a boss, specifically would like to have their boss appoint them Treasury Secretary. If it's not going to be Jamie Dimon, who now is on this list knowing it's not going to be Jay Clayton either? And why is it taking so long to figure it out?
Well, the why is a very good question because, usually Treasury Secretary is among the first, right after Chief of Staff and around Secretary of State. Donald Trump has been he talked about the economy all through the campaign, so you would think his economic team would be front and center. Instead, he went for border positions that would affect immigration and national security and defense, and not the economic team. So we're thinking it's going to be, every day we wake up and see emails from our colleagues saying it's going to be today, it's going to be today. So it could be any minute now. He is in a stream of appointments right now as we're on the show. And I think the leading candidates are now Scott Bessent, who's a hedge fund manager, and Howard Lutnick, who is co-chair of the transition, and a few other people are out there, and all of them have as good a chance as anyone. Or it could be like Matt Gaetz, someone totally out of left field.
Well, do you sense there's a method to this, or are we just announcing things as they're decided at Mar-a-Lago?
The first one was a very logical one to go with immigration right after the Chief of Staff, because that is one of the animating things in his campaign that really differentiates him, that really enthused his crowds. The next few seem to be more, his personal wishes. The Treasury Secretary might come in there later. Part of what he seems to be doing this week is just seizing all the attention away from John Thune, from Biden, and reasserting his dominance over the American conversation and doing it in a provocative way that tells people, you elected me to change Washington. Well, look, I'm going to really rile them and upset them. And this week has been all about coming out with stuff that really stirs the pot in Washington. So arguably, if you're hoping for a more conventional Treasury Secretary choice, you're kind of thinking you're lucky that he's waiting till later for that.